Most people get comfortable. They stop growing, they stop working on themselves, they stop stretching, they stop pushing themselves, and they end up becoming very cynical about life, and they throw in the towel on themselves, on their families, and on their dreams. And the other thing is that most people don't feel worthy. What I'm doing now, I could have been doing years ago. But because I did not have a college education, because I didn't believe in myself, because I allowed other people's opinion of me to control my destiny, I didn't act on my ideas. So I applaud you for your dreaming. I can tell you that it's possible.
I'll tell you what, you'll never finish what you start. You gotta get off your ass, cause time ain't gonna last. 40, you still ain't got no good job. I remember what you told me, Grandma. You might as well go ahead and rob a nigga. Might as well go ahead and hit a lick, my niggas. You ain't even got a college degree to show for. Stay ready, you ain't gotta give back to the nigga in you nation, huh? And you lead people straight to hell, man. Like stay ready, you ain't gotta give back to their mind.
All praises to Yahweh. I finally made it out the mental chains. Know through your pain, it's a way out. I took the road less traveled, yeah, how it's will you take the same route? Betrayal of death, I don't know what's worse. That daily bread or that bread, what you choosing first? Teach my people how to hustle, that's the easy part. But all the money in this world can change your evil heart. Was born and raised here in Babylon. Told I was nothing but a black man. Never said who I descended from. Kwame Yasharala, yeah, we back, fam. True success ain't what you got, bro. True success is what you are and what you not, bro. Glass ceiling, dodging feelings like potholes. Guard your spirit from these niggas and Diablos. Keep it humble, but you rumble when your line pressed. Demonize me all you want, but know my kind blessed. This the gospel uncensored, go and tell a friend. Come up out of her, my people cease to dwell in sin. 12 tribes, we the people of the Most High. Don't be surprised to see those chariots come out the sky. Just a prophet, I don't claim to be a known scholar. This is chapter 1 to Zaiwan Ariala. Yeah. Never make a promise you can't keep.
Cornmeal, these niggas sound crazy.
Tribe. Yeah. Yeah. This for everybody out there looking for that 15 minutes of fame. Sometimes it just ain't enough.
They don't celebrate you till you want or you go. Been grinding all my life, tell the truth, I was just trying to be known. When you don't make it to the top, that's on my tribe, I swear you fall all alone. Now that my numbers and my views is going up, I'm getting calls on my phone. Unless they real, I swear they never celebrate you till you want or you go.
I joke a lot, but I could be for real. I swear I miss my nigga Young B for real. Chaplins pour some Hennessy, I need a drink for real. The future gone, my nigga never got to ink a deal. Lost the goat, the streets is cutthroat. Second guessing cause we keep on coming up short. Before my grandma passed on Dave, I was in the booth. Almost lost my fire ride, now I'm in this truth. They don't love you when you move in wisdom. They only care for what you got to give them. I didn't sign so I didn't benefit them. They expected me to lose but I got beneficial. I wouldn't let nobody write my narrative. Want the truth whatever it is. Trusting people, yeah, that's been an issue. This just another rags to riches story. The only difference I'ma give you how all the glory. They don't celebrate you till you want or you go.
Been grinding all my life, tell the truth, I was just trying to be known. When you don't make it to the top, that's on my tribe, I swear you fall all alone. Now that my numbers and my views is going up, I'm getting calls on my phone. Unless they real, I swear they never celebrate you till you want or you go.
They don't care if I'm the hardest. My babies, they gon' show me love regardless. Grab my past, I swear I wanted to be heartless. Malik and Shea Berry, Mariah at my darkest. Where my brother, he got on and he got ghosts. Left me bitter, that's my nigga that I love most. Why my niggas, why they always seem to turn on me? I ain't gon' lie, that shit hurting me for eternity. Though I ain't perfect, I can learn to be. That rule came and changed me eternally. If niggas say that I didn't love them, then they lying, When they almost killed my nigga, I was crying, Some homies wouldn't, but I roll with you. So many days up in that stew, I share my soul with you. I see my old homies turn Hollywood. This just the kite to let you.
They don't celebrate you till you on or you go. Been grinding all my life, tell the truth, I was just trying to be known. When you don't make it to the top, that's on my tribe, I swear you fall all alone. Now that my numbers and my views is going up, I'm getting calls on my phone. Unless they real, I swear they never celebrate you till you on or you go.
If you only list your vacation home on Airbnb, you might attract someone looking for a quaint little studio. But if you list it on Vrbo, you'll attract families looking for a bit more, and who spend over twice as much more. Your dream guests await. Become a Vrbo host today.
we're all praise to the Most High. It's another Tuesday. That means it's another Bible basics lesson. I feel like this one's definitely a basic lesson, but at the same time, it's not. It's one of the things that I feel like we've done a pretty good job of here at True Nation is really talking to the people about getting their spirits right and getting their minds right. And with a lot of the I guess the culture that we have in Israel, especially behind our sisters, we try to find a balance in correction and upliftment, and that was kind of the inspiration for lessons like these. So all praise to the Most High that we were able to come up with this lesson idea. And Lord willing, it's edifying to you guys. Lord willing, it inspires you and motivates you guys, motivates our brothers to continue to uplift our sisters, and it motivates our sisters to continue to strive to be the best that they can be. So, the name of tonight's lesson is not the woman strongest. Is not the woman strongest. So, let's go ahead and open up. We'll start off in First Ezra. First Ezra chapter 4. And we'll read, we're going to start at verse 14.
First Ezra chapter 4 and verse 14. O ye men.
I'm sorry, start at 13.
13. Then the third who had spoken of women and of the truth, this was Zerubbabel, began to speak. O ye men, it is not the great king, nor the multitude of the men, neither is it wine that excelleth. Who is it then that ruleth them?
Right, so Zerubbabel is saying, look, we know the king is great. We know the strength of a multitude of men. We understand how powerful that can be. But they're not the strongest. So what is? Right, read on.
Or hath the lordship over them?
It says, what, with all the power that they have, what could it be that could be stronger than them? That could be over them? That can control them? Read.
Are they not women?
Are they not women? Are they not women? Well, watch this. Let's continue to read on. Let's drop down to verse 22.
22.
So he's going to get into, yeah, we know the king is strong. We know this is strong. We know that is strong. But let me show you how much control that the woman has over all of these things. Read that.
Yea, a man taketh his sword.
Verse 22.
Excuse me. By this also ye must know that women have dominion over you. Do ye not labor and toil and give and bring all to the woman?
It says, with all of the strength that you have and everything that you do, everything that you acquire, don't you desire to bring it to a woman? Don't you do all of this to bring support to your woman? Isn't she the driving force behind the things that you're doing to bring to your woman? Read.
Yea, a man taketh his sword and goeth his way to rob and to steal, to sail upon the sea and upon rivers.
Read.
And looketh upon a lion and goeth in the darkness, and when he has stolen and spoiled and robbed, he bringeth it to his love.
It says a man to go rob and steal and put himself in harm's way just to please his woman. Read.
Wherefore a man loveth his wife better than father or mother.
It says, now when you read a little bit up above, it talks about how a man left his family to be with this woman. Then he continued on to say he does all of these things. He conquers the world. He puts himself in harm's way for that woman. Then it continues on to say he loves that woman or the women that he's with more than his own parents. Read.
Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits.
Read.
Out of their wits for women and become servants for their sake.
It says women are so strong because, again, the whole thing is, well, when they ask what is the strongest, they're saying what has the most control. It says women will have you going crazy. Women will literally make you do something that you thought you would never do. People have lost their wits for women, whether it's because they had their heart broken and they lost their mind, or they were so head over heels in love with this woman, but they've lost all common sense for a woman. Read on.
Many also have perished, have erred and sinned for women.
It says, many have also perished. People die behind sisters, die behind women. It says, and they've erred, meaning they've done wrong, and even sinned for women. Brothers will do anything for the woman. So it's not, and he said all of this to say, so is not the woman strongest? As you continue to read on, and I think this is a great chapter for you to read. Go read 1 Ezra chapter 4. He continues and talks about nobody dares touches the king. Nobody dares to disrespect the king, but his own wife will take the crown off of his head. His own wife will slap him in the face, and he won't do nothing about it. That shows you how much power that the woman has, right? Let's go to Proverbs 31, and I want to read verse 3. So again, is not the woman the strongest? Does not the woman have the most control, the most influence? Quiet is kept over everything, right? Watch this. Read Proverbs 31 and verse 3.
Proverbs 31 and 3. Give not thy strength unto women.
Let's read Proverbs 31 and 1 first.
Verse 1. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him.
So his mother, this is King Solomon. Another name that was given unto him was Lemuel. But this is King Solomon. And King Solomon's mother was teaching him something, right? Let's read verse 3 again. So this is the teaching that his mother was giving him, right?
Give not thy strength unto women,
right?
Nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings.
It says, don't give your strength over to a woman. Don't give your power. Don't give your control unto a woman. Why did his mother have to give him this game? Because she understands how much control a woman has over a man. It does not matter how powerful an individual thinks he is. It does not matter how fearful an individual is. It says there's always going to be a woman that can control him. A woman has the most control. The woman is the strongest. Let's jump over to, watch this. Let's jump over to Genesis 3. We're going to read chapter 1. We're going to show you the first instance of this proof. The first instance of, oh, wow, Zerubbabel was on to something when he said what he said. Genesis 3 and verse 1.
Genesis 3 and 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made.
Read.
And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden.
Read.
And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden.
Right. So this was the law that God, the Most High God, gave to Abraham, which clearly he taught Eve, right? So the serpent is coming and saying, well, y'all can't eat none of this stuff, huh? She goes, no, we can partake of all of these things except that over there, right? Read.
But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Right, read.
And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not die, you shall surely not die. Excuse me.
Verse 5.
For God doth not know,
God
doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
So he said, so the serpent already peeping game. Okay, I know I can talk to her. We'll even talk about that soon. We'll get into that as well. So the serpent said, so y'all can't eat none of this, huh? She said, no, we can partake all of these except those things over there. Serpent said, why? She said, because the Most High said if we do, we'll die. Servant said, what? You believe that? That's not what's going to happen. So he done got her fooled, right? He said, no, but this is what's really going to happen. So now she's intrigued, like, what, for real? Read.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat.
So she took of the fruit that the Lord said not to partake of. But watch what else she did. Read.
And gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
And he what?
And he did eat.
One more time.
And he did eat.
Many have erred and even sinned for women. The Lord told Adam himself, do not touch that. His wife, Adam's wife, influenced him, controlled him, and got him to partake of something that God himself said, do not partake of. Adam basically was able to have a direct line to the Lord and Yahweh Shai at the time. Because remember, it said, God said, let us make man in our image. So he was, whichever angel or whoever he was talking to, it was basically a direct line to the Most High God. He got the directions directly from the Most High. He didn't get the book and have to read through the laws to know the do's and don'ts. He spoke directly to someone. And the woman still had the ability to influence him to go against what the Most High said. So is not the woman the strongest? Now, what I'm going to do is I've broken it up. What I'm going to do first is I want to show you how our women can be the strongest and use that strength for good or for evil. So we'll deal with the latter first. We're going to deal with the evil side first, the influences that we see through the scriptures. And then we'll jump over to the good. Let's go ahead. Let's jump over to 1 Kings chapter 19. So now we're going to deal with one of the most wicked kings in Israel. Now, to be fair, he was already wicked as hell. But we're going to see the influence that his wife had on him, which I'm pretty sure is part of the reason why he was as bad as he was. He may not have been as bad. But this woman, y'all going to find out who this woman is. And this woman's so bad that Christianity, even in the truth, people will say you have that type of spirit. You got to be a wicked, a special type of wicked to have a spirit named after you. And it having a negative connotation. But watch how she influences her husband. Let's go to 1 Kings. We're going to read 19. We're going to read 1 and 2, and then we're going to drop down. 1 Kings 19, read verse 1.
Verse 1. And Ahab told Jezebel at all that Elijah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with the sword.
Right.
Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow.
So Ahab went and told Jezebel, yo, Elijah killed all of my prophets. Jezebel said, don't worry, baby, I got you. She sent a letter. She got the power to send off her own letters with her own messengers and said, Elijah, I'm going to kill you. I guarantee you going to die, right? Drop down to, we're going to flip over to chapter 21. So we see this woman Jezebel, which again, she's so wicked. She got a spirit named after her. You got that Jezebel spirit. But we see the power that she has even at this time. She has the power to call shots on her own. I think she may be the only recorded queen of Israel to be able to do that. You had Athaliah, but to be fair, she killed everybody. she reigned over on her own for a very short period. But as far as to be able to call shots, I'm going to send out messengers, I'm going to do this. Ahab went back and told his wife because he was feeling some type of way, and she is the, don't worry, I'm going to handle it for you person. How do we know this? Watch this. We're going to flip over to 21. We had another similar situation where she said, baby, I'ma handle it for you. 21, and we're going to read 1, and we're just going to read down all the way to verse 16.
1 Kings 21:1. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard, which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria.
Right, so this was a man who had a palace, who had a vineyard that was right next to the palace. Read.
And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is nearer to my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or, if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money.
Read.
And Naboth said unto Ahab, The Lord forbid it me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee.
So Ahab was like, yo, I want your vineyard. It's right here. I see the fruits in here. It's beautiful. Like, I can get you a better vineyard. No problem. I can get you a better vineyard. Or name your price for it. He said, God forbid that this is my dad. Like, this was an inheritance. I'm not giving this up. Verse 4.
Verse 4, And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him.
Read.
For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would eat no bread.
This man had a whole temper tantrum because this man didn't want to, because Naboth didn't want to sell him his vineyard. A whole tantrum. Verse 5.
But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad, that thou eatest no bread?
Read.
And he said unto her, Because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard.
So she goes, oh, babe, what's wrong? What's going on? I asked to take Naboth's vineyard. I even said I'll give him money. Can you believe he told me no? It's not fair. And I really wanted it. Verse 7.
And Jezebel, his wife, said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard and Naboth the Jezreelite.
So we see how much power that Ahab had given Jezebel to do pretty much whatever she wanted. And she had a level of influence on this man. And you could see it right here. Read on.
So she wrote letters in Ahab.
So she started calling shots again. Read.
She wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth.
Right.
And she wrote in the letters, saying, Proclaim a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. And set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme God and the king, and then carry him out and stone him that he may die.
So not only did she write she wrote a letter saying, set this man up, all because he did not want to sell his inheritance. Ahab is perfectly fine with this. She said, I'm going to get it for you, don't worry. Now he knows the type of woman that he has. He knew that she was going to do something, but you know, that's my wife and the lover, and you know, you know, it's just what it is. Now, granted, like I said, to be fair, Ahab was wicked as hell already. But we see, again, the type of influence this woman already had behind him. To be able to say, I'm going to call the shots, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And Ahab's just like, oh, okay, go ahead, babe. All right. We see that though he was king, he had someone there that could have the influence or that was stronger than him. We could see how the woman is and was and is strongest, right? Read.
Verse 11. And the men of the city, even the elders of the nobles who were the inhabitants of the city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letters which he had sent unto them.
Drop down to verse Drop down to verse 15.
Verse 15. And it came to pass when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said unto Ahab, Arise and take the possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead.
Verse 16.
And it came to pass when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite to take possession of it.
Right. So everyone who's read the history knows of all of the wickedness that Jezebel had done. And we see the power that she had to do it from the king himself. She pretty much ran the nation. She could call whatever shot she wants. She could put a hit out on whoever she wants. She could threaten and disrespect whoever she wanted. Ahab's just like, hey, that's fine. It's okay. But we see, even here, how she had just as much power, if not more power, than the king himself, which he allowed. And remember, he's king. But again, men will do whatever to please their woman, to satisfy their women. That's why it said in First Ezra, it says they'll go out and rob, they'll go out and steal, they'll lose their mind, they'll do stuff that they thought they would never do. They'll even give over their power. That's why Solomon's mom said, don't give your strength over to a woman, because they'll do that. They'll do that. Let's flip over. I want to grab a scripture really quickly. Go to Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25. Like I said, we're going to deal with the negative side first, and then I want to bounce over to the more positive side, because we see through the scriptures that despite how unfortunately sisters feel in this truth because of lack of understanding of the scriptures and brothers not teaching in wisdom, we see the strength that the women have. We see the role that the women play. We see the influence that women have in the nation, amongst the nation, right? Let's go to Ecclesiasticus 25. We'll read verse 20, and then I want you to drop down to 23.
Verse 20. As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man.
Right. Now drop down to verse 23.
23. A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh an heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees.
So this is talking about a woman who is what you would call a headache, a wicked woman, a Jezebel, whatever it is you want to call it. Ultimately, what's being said here, a woman like this can literally destroy a man. A woman who's always complaining, who's always griping, who's never satisfied, who's never pleased, who's always letting this man know she's never satisfied, never pleased, not building this man up, not gassing him up, not encouraging him, expressing to him that he could do better, telling him to strive to do better. You can stress that man out and break him down. You can make a man give up. You can make or break a man. You are so strong that you can make or break your man. This man you can first get with him and he have all the drive in the world. Like, this man is up till 2 in the morning doing blah, blah, blah. Go to sleep for 3 hours, get back up, and he's back on his grind. And you can literally pull that away from him. You have the power, the control to literally pull that away from him. You can actually break a man. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7. And we're going to read verse 23 all the way to 28. You have the ability, again, and circling back to the anchor, is not the woman strongest? It's not talking about physically. It's not talking about intellectually. But this is talking about, as it pertains to the influence, what you could be, what you could do to those that are in power, those that are in charge. There is a strength that you have that a man does not have. There is a strength, a power, a type of control that you have that can influence that individual with all of the power, with all of the strength, even with all of the money, whatever it is you want to call it. You have that strength and that ability, which shows how strong you really are to influence your children, influence your husband, influence a leader. You have that ability. 23. We're going to read down to 28. Ecclesiastes 7 and 23 through 28.
Hast thou children? Instruct them and bow down.
Ecclesiastes.
Excuse
Not Sirach,
me. That's
Ecclesiastes.
Sirach.
So we're going to get both sides of the spectrum, but we see here that you can be a great man to begin with. And a wicked woman, this is specifically talking about a wicked woman. She can destroy you. She can break you. It says that verse 20, as the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, meaning as difficult, as strenuous, as grievous as that is. It says, so is the wife full of words to a quiet man. So is a wife who's always arguing, who always has a problem, who can't be satisfied. That's stressful. That's grievous. That's mentally draining. That is what you call energy draining, spirit draining. You can really be destroyed by someone eating at your mental, eating at your desire, eating at your grind. And I don't know one man that has yet to say this, but I done talked to a number of brothers, both married and even in the world, that used to have girlfriends or whatever. Like, bro, I don't know what it is, but can't nobody get under my skin like my wife. Can't nobody get under my skin like my girl. Like, she really be having my day messed up. And I don't know why. Like, I could be having a great day, and I come home, and then whoop-de-whoop happen, and now I'm out of it. I can't focus. I can't concentrate. I went home to make music. I went home to start working on a business that I'm trying to. I can't even focus on that anymore. You have the power to do stuff like that. On the flip side, a man can be feeling like crap all day, and you can have the power to place that energy and that spirit back in him to get on his grind and be great. You can do that. Verse 25, it says, verse 23, it says, a wicked woman abateth courage. She can literally take away your courage, take away your strength, make you weak. Maketh in heavy countenance, meaning the way that you feel, you be walking around moping all the time. She can literally have you looking like, damn, what's up with, bro, you good? You look depressed. You look out of it. You get any sleep. She can make you look like that, literally drain you. And a wounded heart, meaning she can hurt you. She can break your heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress will make weak hands and feeble knees. You can drain the life out of someone. You have that type of power and influence, even over the person who they think has the most power. You get the right woman, she'll have more power than him. She can influence him. Give me Ecclesiastes 7 and 23.
7 and 23 in Ecclesiastes. All this I have proved by wisdom. I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me.
Read.
That which is far off and exceeding deep, who can find it out? I applied my heart to know and to search and to seek out wisdom and the reason of things, and to know the wickedness of folly, even of foolishness and madness.
Right. So this is Solomon. He's saying, look, and when you read all Ecclesiastes, he basically was talking about, I've had everything, I've lost everything, I've done all the research, I've had the women, I've had the money. All of that means nothing. That's basically what he's saying. But he's sitting here saying now, I've gone out of my way to try to figure out everything. I've strove to find wisdom. Right? Read.
And I find more bitter than death the woman.
He said, I find more bitter than death the woman. But watch this, read.
Whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth God shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her.
Now, this is talking about, of course, a wicked woman. He says, I ain't, because think about it. When you die, that's it. Yeah, people will miss you, people will mourn you. But when you die, no more pain, no more suffering, you're done. It says, but it does grieve the heart to those that will remember you. He said, even though death is grievous, he said, a wicked woman is worse than that. A wicked woman to have you suffering more than these people will suffer mourning you. Like, you would wish you was dead dealing with the wrong type of woman. Stress you out that bad. Excuse me, stress you out that bad. Right? Read on.
Verse 27. Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one, to find out the account.
Read.
Which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found.
So out of all the women that he looked at, all the women that he's dealt with, all of the women that he's seen, he said, I ain't found one right. But there's a reason why I brought this scripture out, because I want to show you something now. Let's go to 1 Kings 11. Because Solomon, remember, Solomon was the wisest king of all. The wisest king that we had, who knew all of this information, had all of this knowledge. Watch this. 1 Kings chapter 11. And we're going to start at verse 1.
1 Kings 11:1. But King Solomon loved many strange women,
right,
together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites and the Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites.
Verse 2.
Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love.
It says, Solomon, it says that Solomon married these women that the Lord said not to marry because not that they might, they probably will. They're going to turn your heart from me, Solomon. Well, first of all, he told that to all of Israel. Solomon understood the law in Deuteronomy 7. So he said, if you marry these other women, they're going to turn your heart from me. Solomon, being the wisest of wise kings, still disobeyed the Lord, clave to these women, who he just said, of all these women, I found one that was right. Verse 3. I'm sorry, we could drop straight down. Let's drop down to verse 4.
Verse 4. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods. And his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father.
Right. Now you read verse 5, 6, and all the way down to like 8. It goes into what he did. So with all the wisdom that Solomon had, with all of what Solomon just said, knowing women was, because I know he already knew this by this time. Because remember, it said when he was old, this happened. He was old by the time his heart had turned. So with all of this knowledge that Solomon had, understanding that, women ain't all right. I need to make sure, I'm the wisest king of the wise. My focus on the Most High. They still were able to influence Solomon to turn to sin. It says, many have erred and even sinned because of women. Solomon, the righteous and wise king, still taken out, still influenced, still moved to do unrighteousness and influenced to do so. Is not the woman the strongest? The woman can influence a man to do just about anything. There is a gift and a skill that women have as it pertains to their influence on men. They can use it for good. They can use it for evil. But understand that they're strong enough to do it.
Especially if the Most High is sending her to you.
Especially. Give me 1 Peter. Watch this. I want to show you guys something. 1 Peter 3:7. This is a scripture that's very misunderstood. 1 Peter, excuse me, 1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 7.
1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge.
Talking about wives, read.
Giving honor unto the wife.
Giving honor to your wife, read.
As unto the weaker vessel. And as being heirs together of the grace of life. That your prayers be not hindered.
Now, brothers go to the scripture. See, sisters, y'all the weaker vessel. But that's not calling them a weak vessel. That's saying that they are weaker than you. But here's the thing. They are weaker than you, but they are stronger than you. The hell are you talking about, DARASH? Is that not an oxymoron? No. So, they're weaker in a sense we know women are wired differently. They're more emotional. So it's easier for spirits to attach to them. It's easier for them to be influenced by spirits to do things. That's why even in the garden, Satan went to the woman first. It's easier to get them in that realm. So yes, they're weaker emotionally and spiritually, but they're stronger. Even though they're weaker, they're still strong enough, as strong as you're supposed to be as a man, and as 10 toes in the dirt and in the ground as you are for everything else. There is a woman that will make you change. There is a woman that can and will influence you to change. So yes, they are the weaker vessel, but they are not a weak vessel. Because if that be the case, then First Ezra would contradict what Paul was saying. Context is everything. The woman is not the woman strongest. Does not she have the most influence on how things move? Because again, men will do anything for women, for a woman. Men will do just about anything for women to impress that woman, to show that woman how much he cares, to show that woman how much he loves her. Brothers in any other situation, if nobody was in front of them, they would have been poking their chest out, ready to fight, whatever. Situations have escalated because a woman was right there, and it was like, I don't want her to think I'm a punk. I ain't no punk. Hold on, nigga. They have the influence to do that, to make you courageous in situations where you might have been a coward, to make you not think it's rational when in a different situation, yeah, it may have seemed like you were a little softer at that point, but it was the wise decision. Now your ego's in the way because it's a woman right here that's influencing you. People steal to impress women. People kill to get things to impress women. And some women will tell you, like, yeah, I like my man looking like woo, woo, woo. I don't care how you got to do it. I like men that are scammers. I like men that are this. I like men that are that. Niggas will go do that to impress women because they're like, well, women like this. Y'all got a lot of power and a lot of influence over the way things are done, and the way people move, the way men move. That's why when you read in First Ezra, it talked about the woman who could literally slap the king in the face, take his crown from him. But somebody said that the king was the strongest. Nah, there's a woman there that can whisper in that king's ear and get him to do things. John the Baptist is a perfect example. Herod. The woman influenced Herod to kill John the Baptist. All because John the Baptist told him he was wrong. And the woman didn't like it. Said, give me John the Baptist's head on a platter. But this is the king. He's the most powerful. But there is something that can still influence him. So think about that as a man. Men are the strongest. But there is something that could still influence, that could still make or break them, make them great, push them past their limits, or make them fold, take away their tenacity, take away their drive. And it could be you. It could be that woman. Let's go to Esther chapter 4. So let's see now the flip side of how a woman can utilize her influence, her strength, her power, her gifts for good. Esther 4. 4. I want to read 10 and 15, 10 and 16. Then we're going to drop down to chapter 5.
The book of Esther, chapter 4, and verse 10. Again, Esther spake unto Hathach, and gave him commandment unto Mordecai.
Right, read.
And the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death.
Right, and this was no exception. If you came into the courts and the king didn't call you, you just decided you was going to show up, you're supposed to be put to death. Was that the end of that, or you read more? Read on.
Except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come unto the king these 30 days.
So the king hadn't called for Esther. The king hasn't called for anybody. So you better not you're going to die. Unless the king says, oh, no, wait. No, they're good. They're good. They're the exception to the rule. Right? Let's jump over to chapter 5. And we're going to read verses 2 and 3.
Esther 5 and verse 2. And it was so when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court.
So she came to the court unannounced. Ahasuerus saw her. She should have been put to death. But watch this, read.
That she obtained the favor in his sight.
She was the exception. She got away with it. Read.
And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter.
Verse 3.
Then said the king unto her, what wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom.
Well, first, so we see the influence that Esther had on Ahasuerus. It said Ahasuerus was so upset. Go read the book of Esther. You'll see Ahasuerus was so obsessed with Esther. He was like, man, she's so beautiful. She's so amazing. I'll give her half my damn kingdom if she asks for it. I can't give her more than that because then she'd have more power than me, but I'd give her half my kingdom if she asked for it. So he reiterated this to her again right here, right? Let's drop down to, we're going to flip over to chapter 7. I'm sorry, wait. Let's reverse 4, and then we're going to drop down.
Esther 5 and 4. And Esther answered, if it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I prepared for him.
So she said, I want to prepare a banquet for you, Ahasuerus, you and Haman. Can you make it? He said, yeah, absolutely. For you, I'll do it, right? Chapter 7. And we're going to read 1 through 8.
Chapter 7, verse 1. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted to thee. And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom.
He said it again. Look, Esther, I tell you again. I'll give you half of my kingdom if you ask for it. What you need, baby? Tell me what you need. Read on.
Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in the king's sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at this petition, and my people at my request. For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we have been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage.
Read.
Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he, and where is he, that durst presume in his heart to do so?
Read.
And Esther said, the adversary and the enemy is this wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and queen. And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Verse 8.
Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house?
So now Ahasuerus is pissed off. He's already mad because he's like, who tried to kill you and your people? Now, mind you, he had just found out Mordecai saved his life. So Mordecai is his guy right now. Esther is his beloved. He's like, who would do something against y'all? She said, Haman. Ahasuerus is furious right now. And so Ahasuerus is like, oh my God, this is bad. So then he does something. I don't know what his purpose was, but he fell out on Esther's bed. Ahasuerus is even more pissed off now. He's like, what the hell? You know what? Drop down to verse 10.
Verse 10. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
So he killed Haman, and he was good after that. But we saw how Esther utilized, she knew Ahasuerus loved her to the ends of the earth. She knew it. And she said, I'm going to have to use my influence. Everybody, we have to have a fast. Let's pray to the Lord that I have enough love and favor with Ahasuerus to get this done. And she influenced Ahasuerus. She convinced Ahasuerus, that man Haman, which was pretty much Ahasuerus' right-hand man, was wicked, got him killed and saved Israel. You have the ability to influence for good. You have the ability to influence for wicked. Let's go to Proverbs 31. We're going to read 10 through 12.
Proverbs 31 and verse 10. Verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her.
It says read on.
So that he shall have no need of spoil.
It says the heart of read verse 12.
Verse 12. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life.
She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. It says, who can find a virtuous woman? And it says that a virtuous woman will have the heart of her husband, the mind of her husband at ease, because he knows I could trust her. He knows I can allow her to do certain things because look at her. He has enough trust in her. She can make calls. She can request things and it be done. So we know that a woman, especially a good woman, can have a man give her the world. That's the truth. A man who has a woman that makes him feel like a king, like a god, he will give her the world. That's also a type of influence. Stroking his ego, submitting to him, making him feel like he is everything to you. He will give everything to you. Some women use this for good. Some women use this to take advantage and for evil. It's the truth. But scriptures say that the heart of a virtuous woman, the heart of the husband of a virtuous woman safely trusts in her. He has that comfort in knowing that I can pretty much, whatever she needs, whatever she wants, I know that I can trust these judgments. We can even go as far as talking. I know I can be. My heart trusts in you. I can be vulnerable with you. Most men, nigga, I don't cry. I ain't telling nobody about what I'm going through. A woman can influence you to open up, soften up. That's true. That's real. Now, what we have to understand as well, because people, especially in Israel, have this mindset that you can't allow your woman to do these things, and it turns into this hardness. Like when the scriptures talk about love your wife as your own soul, a lot of people miss that. They're just like, woman, this is what it is. I am the man. You listen to me. That is it. And that is all. Or you're a wicked ass woman. It's not how it works. It's just not how it works. And the truth of the matter is, if it's not her, I can guarantee you there's another woman that, if it's not your wife right then, there's a woman out there that can influence you. There absolutely is. There's a woman out there that can make or break you. There absolutely is. Let's go to Sirach 26 and read verse 22.
Sirach
Ecclesiasticus chapter 26 and verse 22.
And verse 22. And harlot shall be accounted as spittle, but a married woman is a tower against death to her husband.
It says a woman can be a tower, a righteous woman, a righteous wife. She can be a tower against death for her husband. I want to show you something. Let's go to Samuel. 1 Samuel chapter 25.
The book of 1 Samuel chapter 25.
My bad. 1 Samuel 25 and we're going to read 3 through 5, and we're going to drop down to verse 9.
Verse 3. Now the name of the man was Nabal.
Now we all know this story. The infamous Nabal. Go ahead.
And the name of his wife, Abigail.
And we know the story of the righteous and virtuous woman known as Abigail, right? Read.
And she was a woman of good understanding.
And she was a wise woman. Read.
And of a beautiful countenance.
And she was bad. Read.
But the man was churlish and evil in his doings.
And this man was a wicked devil. Read on.
And he was of the house of Caleb.
And he was that. Okay, so let's go to drop down to verse 9.
Verse 9. And when David's young men came, they spake to Nabal according to all those words in the name of David.
Right, so David, basically what happened was David was looking out for, now Nabal was rich. He had a huge herd, a huge flock of sheep. He looked out for the sheep. He looked out for the shepherds. And now he sent to Nabal just to ask, hey, can you give us something to eat? We're hungry. We haven't eaten in days. We even did you a silo. We looked out for these people. We know you got it. Can you help us out? Read.
And Nabal answered David's servants and said, who is David? And who is the son of Jesse? There be many servants nowadays that break away every man from his master.
So, Nabal got disrespectful. Who the hell is David? Now, mind you, David had already slain Goliath. Everybody knew who David was. He said every slave runs away from his master, right? Every servant will break away from his master. Like, well, I know you got whatever your situation with Saul, bro. That ain't my problem. You broke, you hungry, it's not my problem. So he got disrespectful with David. Read.
Shall I then take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed for my shearers and give it unto men who I know not whence they be?
He said, I don't know him like that. Well, I got servants and stuff that I'm actually giving them food. Why would I give him anything? Should I take their food and give it to him? Hell, I ain't doing all of that, bro. Y'all could slide. Y'all go back and tell David, hell no. Read on.
So David's young men turned their way and went again and came and told him all those sayings.
So they went back and said, look, David, this is what we went. We told him what you said, and this is what he told us. Read on.
And David said unto his men, gird ye on every man his sword. And they girded on every man his sword.
So David said, really? All right, cool. We finna go down there and pay Nabal a visit. Read.
And they girded every man his sword. And David also girded on his sword. and there went up after David about 400 men.
So they went down there 400 deep to have a conversation with Nabal. Read.
And 200 abode by the stuff.
Read on.
But one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, Behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master, and he railed on them.
So the servants heard what was going on. They said, yo, that's a lot of men. And we know David. We heard the stories of David. That's the one that he killed Goliath, and you know, the Philistines wasn't messing with us for a while. He's a warrior. Nabal's about to die. Like he's gonna die. Somebody go find Abigail. Please, somebody go find Abigail. Right, read.
But the men were very good unto us, and we were not hurt. Neither missed we anything, as long as we were conversant with them when we were in the fields.
Now, they went and told Abigail, look, your husband's about to die, get everybody killed. Because David was hungry, and he said, F off, essentially. He said, F off. So now he's about to go pay David a visit. So, David's about to go pay Nabal a visit. So you might want to, can you fix this, please? Read.
They were a wall unto us both by night and day. All the while we were with them keeping the sheep. Now therefore know and consider what thou wilt do, for evil is determined against our master and against all his household. For he is such a son of Belial that a man cannot speak to him.
They said, Nabal's so damn stupid and foolish, he about to get us all killed, Abigail. We know that you're wise, and we know people love you. Can you please, we about to die. Can you help us? Read.
Then Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves and 200 bottles of wine and 5 sheep ready dressed and 5 measures of parched corn and 100 clusters of raisins and 200 cakes of figs, and laid them on asses. Verse 19, and she said unto her servants, Go on before me, behold, I come after you. But she told not her husband Nabal.
So now, a lot of people will say, well, Abigail was wicked because she disobeyed her husband. Her husband said no, and she decided to give David food anyways. That's disobeying the order. Look, the wisdom she used just saved everybody's life. Everybody's life, right? So she used her discretion. She used her wisdom. She said, you know what? He said he's not going to give David any food. You said they on the way? Yeah. Nah, he done lost his damn mind. Y'all pack up all of that over there. Get all that stuff over there. Go back to the house. Get them things over there. We taking all this to David. All of it. I ain't worried about Nabal right now. We taking all of this, right? Drop down to verse 23.
23. And when Abigail saw David, she hasted and lighted off the ass and fell before David on her face.
Read.
And bowed herself to the ground and fell at his feet and said, Upon me, my Lord, upon me let this iniquity be. And let thine handmaid, I pray thee, speak in thine audience, and hear the words of thine handmaid.
Verse 25.
Let not my Lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial, even Nabal, for as his name is, so he is. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But I, thine handmaid, saw not the young men of my Lord, whom thou didst send.
She said, look, put it all on my head. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. But please spare them. Please forgive Nabal, because as you can see, his name is Nabal. you know he's a damn fool. And, you know, I still my husband, love him to death. But just let's act like you didn't even run into him. Let's just do it like that, right? Drop down to 27, read.
27. And now this blessing which thine handmaid hath brought unto my Lord, let it even be given unto the young men that follow my Lord.
So she said, I brought you a bunch of stuff. I pray, please tell me this will suffice. I pray that everything's good. Read.
I pray thee, forgive the trespass of thine handmaid, for the Lord will certainly make my Lord a sure house, because my Lord fighteth the battles of the Lord, and evil hath not been found in thee all thy days.
And she's sitting there trying her best to stroke this man's ego. She's like, please, I know I sinned. Please forgive my trespass against you. He said, I know the Lord going to make you strong. You are strong. You're a powerful man. You're a wise man. I brought you all of these things. Just please spare the house. Please spare us. Let's act like you never ran into the ball. You got everything you need. Everything here is for you and your young men. Please spare us. Read.
Yet a man is risen to pursue thee.
Drop down to 32. Salah here. Drop down to 32.
Come, verse 32. And David said unto Abigail, Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, which has sent thee this day to meet me. Mm-hmm. And blessed be thy advice, and blessed be thou, which hast kept me this day from coming to shed blood, and from avenging myself with mine own hand. For in very deed, as the Lord God of Israel liveth, which hath kept me back from hurting thee, except thou hadst hasted and come to meet me, surely there had not been left unto Nabal by this morning light any that pisseth against the wall.
He said, I promise you, had you not come out, all y'all would have died. Everybody would have died. Now, I remind you, we saw the scripture in Sirach. It says, a married woman is a tower against death for her husband. We see here, one of our foremothers using her discretion, one of our foremothers using her wisdom, one of our foremothers using her gift of gab, as the scriptures say, the law of kindness comes out of her mouth to bring David down, please and appease David. And she saved probably hundreds of people because Nabal was rich. He had a lot of servants, and she saved herself. But we see the potential for influence in righteousness from our foremothers were doing it back then. Let's go back to Ecclesiasticus. And I want to get Ecclesiasticus 36 and 24. So, remembering what we saw in First Ezra, or what we read in First Ezra, rather, the woman, actually, hold that. I'm going to flip over really quickly. I want you to keep that scripture right there. First Ezra 4. Here we are. It says, verse 20. First Ezra 4 and 20. It says, a man leaveth his own father that brought him up in his own country, and cleave unto his wife. He sticketh not to spend his life with his wife, and remembereth neither father, nor mother, nor country. By this also ye must know that women have dominion over you. Do ye not labor and toil, and give and bring all to the woman? Yea, a man, where is it? Taketh his sword. Wherefore a man loveth his wife better than his mother. I think it's verse 26. Yea, many there be that run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sake. Many have also perished and erred in sin for their women. So, I don't recall where the actual scripture is, but essentially, the whole purpose of that is to say, when we read these scriptures, when we look at life, when we look at the world, there is a skill, there is a level of control and influence that a woman can have. And it can be done in righteousness or it can be done in wickedness. You see all the time in the media today, women who have, finessed men. Just not too long ago, you had I don't know the whole ins and outs of it, but the whole Brittany Renner thing. She was with the man. She, quote unquote, secured the bag. She got pregnant, all of that good stuff, and she left him. And prior to that, she was always talking about, y'all got to finesse these men. Y'all got to do this. Y'all got to do that. And these is men with pretty decent pockets, pretty decent power, so to speak. But still, you got people, women, that are able to influence them to get their way. So we see the strength. We see the power that women can have. What did I ask for? Sirach 36 and 24.
Sirach 36 and 24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession.
So when you get a wife, you begin your possession. If you don't have like an inheritance and all of that yet, your wife is your first possession. You're now beginning your possession. Read.
A help like unto himself.
You've received that helpmeet, as the scriptures reference in Genesis. Read.
And a pillar of rest.
And you receive that pillar of rest, that comfort. Remember, we read in Proverbs 31, the heart of the husband doth safely trust in her. That is the comfort that you can bring to that man. You have the ability to make that man's day great. You have the ability to make that man's day hell. You have the ability to make that man's life great. You have the ability to make that man's life hell. You have the ability to push that man to be great. He got the weight of the world on his shoulders. He come home and you lift the weight off of his shoulders just by showing that love, just by showing that care, that concern, just by showing that, interest. How was your day? What was going on? Well, you know what, baby? It's time for you to get to it on what it is that you're trying to do and what you're trying to build and what you're trying to be. You have the ability to get him to embrace the struggle. You have the ability to be that complainer that puts it in his spirit, so everything is always not let me find a solution, but let me find a problem. Like, you have the ability to do so much as a woman, which is why Zerubbabel said, ain't she the strongest? Is she? It was a rhetorical question. Is she not the strongest? Let me give you some examples and show you. She's the strongest. You can be that pillar of rest. You can take the weight of the world off of your husband's shoulder. You can also be that pillar of stress and add extra weight to the weight he already has on his shoulders, which will slowly crush that man. Let's go to Stan Sirach. And let's go to 26. Ecclesiasticus 26. Verses 1 through 2.
Ecclesiasticus 26 and verse 1. Blessed is the man that have a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be double.
The number of read verse 2.
A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace.
It says that woman can bring peace to that man's life. That woman can bring a stress relief to that man's life, which can give him clarity of mind. It can remove all of the stress, which allows him to conquer the world. She can do that. By removing that stress, it says, for the number of his days shall be double. Because they say laughter is the best medicine. Happiness can help prolong your days. Stress is the slow and silent killer. It will literally break you down. It says, if you got a good woman by your side, she can prolong your life because you're always happy. Because you forget about all of the things that stress you out, that hurt you, that has those toxic chemicals like cortisol releasing in your body, slowly killing you. She helps to fix that. She helps to relieve that for you. She has the power to give you additional life. Let's flip to we're still in Sirach, I believe. Oh, actually, let's drop down to verse 13.
Okay, verse 13, same chapter. The grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones.
Her discretion, her wisdom, her being able, because people say you can do that at your discretion. Basically saying it's your decision to make, but how you see fit, do it. The fact that she's wise in the decisions that she make, the way that she moves, it says those things will fatten his bone. The decisions that she makes will help to feed into that man, to feed that man's spirit. Said it will fatten his bones. That's just saying he's getting healthier. He's getting stronger. Because when your bones are healthy, or when they're strong and they're healthy, they're hard to break. She's making it harder to break this man through her wisdom, through the decision making that she has. I don't really like the cliche. I don't like this phrase, but it's true. Behind every powerful man, there's a strong woman. Just because you got a lot of money don't make you a powerful man. You got a lot of rappers out there that got their power by different means. But we're talking about those that were honorable, that we consider honorable, those that were what you would consider actual leaders in the community, those that have an influence to make the people do and be right, those people that we remember in times past. All of them had a woman that was pushing them to be better, pushing them to be great. The scriptures tell you, a woman like that, a woman that's right, can influence you to be great. Not just good, phenomenal. That's the type of influence they have. They do have a level of control, quiet as kept, on the nation. But if we're not feeding that to them and showing these things to them, how can they be those things? If we're saying, well, of course you're important. Your job is to serve us. That's true. But how about you try to feed into their spirit? Let me show you the influence that you have. Do you want to use your powers for good? Or do you want to use your powers for evil? You have the power to make my day go amazing or horrible. You have the power to control the energy in this house. You have the ability to do that. So are you going to use it for good, or are you going to use it for evil? These are things that need to be said. There's a level of kind of like you're insignificant type spirit that goes on amongst our people in the truth. And that's just not true. There's a lot of power and control that women have. There's a lot of power and control that they can have for righteousness. For righteousness. Give me Proverbs. This is our last scripture. Let's go to Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31 and 28.
Proverbs 31 and verse 28. Her children arise up.
Now remember, this is talking about a virtuous, a righteous woman. Her children rise up, read.
And call her blessed.
And call her blessed, read.
Her husband also, and he praiseth her.
A woman who's on her game, a woman who's, as the scriptures call it, a virtuous woman. It says her husband will praise her. Her husband will essentially place her on a pedestal. You see that in the world. You have so much influence, so much power. And it's important that you guys know that, but it's also important that you understand you can use that influence, you can use that power for good or for evil. That's a decision that you guys have to make, but it's very important that you guys know. Sisters, yeah, the woman is the strongest. In the words of Zerubbabel, is not the woman the strongest? Yes, she has a lot of influence. Her being a weaker vessel does not make her weak. Because even as a weaker vessel, she has a lot of influence on the stronger vessel. So it's important that sisters utilize the ability, the gift that the Lord gave them. That's what it is. The Lord gave you that. The gift that the Lord gave you to influence. It's important that we utilize that for righteousness. We utilize that to pick up our brothers, to influence, nourish, nurture our children, and ultimately be that pillar in the nation. Because when you do those things, a woman can push a man to conquer the world. That's the truth. A righteous woman can push a man, a good woman can push a man to heights he never thought he could make, all off of her influence on him. A good woman can raise children that can be next doctors, next lawyers, next leaders, because that's the influence that our women have. So it's very important that our women know this. And it's very important that our women understand how much power that is and how much responsibility that is as well. So sisters, use the influence, the power, that strength that you guys have. Use it for righteousness because the Lord gave it to you. The Lord. So, did you have anything?
No, I was just gonna say, in all shamefacedness, as the scriptures say, that is in tandem.
God, moving, of course, in all shamefacedness. Absolutely. So that's pretty much the end of the lesson. Lord willing, it was edifying. Lord willing, it put something on our brothers' spirits to not be so, I don't want to say, almost for lack of better words, fearful, as to not give the due respect to our women. Like, yeah, you guys have power. Hopefully it put something on their spirit to say, yeah, you guys got a lot of influence. Y'all should use it for good. And Lord willing, it gave sisters the notion, like, okay, I do have this power, and I do have the ability to use it this way or that way. Let me please the Most High and use it in righteousness. So Lord willing, that's what this lesson did for our brothers and sisters. So we're a little early. I'm going to give you my spiel really quick. Every first Monday, we have Q&A. Come and ask whatever biblical questions, historical questions, whatever it is that you got. We ain't got all the answers. We don't profess to know all the answers, but all the answers that we do have, we will give it to you. We will, and the things that we don't know, we will, of course, go back, research it, find the answer, and then bring it back to you on the next one. Or we'll reach out to you via messaging, Facebook, YouTube, whatever the case is. But we'll get you that answer. Every second and fourth Monday, we have our Spanish class, True Nation Espanol. For all of our Spanish speakers, you guys definitely want to tune in. That's pretty much Bible Basics for the Spanish speakers. Every Tuesday is Bible Basics, where you get basic doctrinal things, and we started to implement basic character things that are really pertinent to the doctrine and salvation. This is your foundation. Lock into these classes, learn them, understand them, process them, digest them. This is probably the most important stuff you're going to get. Wednesday, World History According to the Bible, also foundational. You get extra biblical sources as well as biblical sources on the biblical history in this book, proving that it's true, proving that the people in here existed, and just giving you an overall understanding of certain history. Like, some people don't know the history of King David. Some people don't know the history of the split. Some people, you get all of that history, more foundational stuff. Every second and fourth Thursday, we have what's called Stick to the Script. The first one is either Chopper City or in the classroom, where we give you some almost impromptu type of lesson, not on the curriculum, but something we feel maybe the nation needs at the time or something we feel would be special that you guys would appreciate. Every fourth Thursday is current events. Whatever been going on for the month, the past month, we give you all of that information on that Thursday and try to keep you guys up to date. Every Friday, Room 144, which is led by either our brother Yashamai or one of the bishops. That's more doctrinal, but more meat, and it's also heavy. Both Friday and Saturday is heavy on character. One of the biggest things that we try to focus on here is getting your spirit right, because one thing we understand is if you ain't keeping these laws and if you got a foul spirit, you're not going to make it into the kingdom. So we try to focus on those two things primarily. One of the bigger things is character, because in Israel we got a lot of knowledge flowing around and not a lot of teaching people how to be good people. So you got a lot of smart assholes out there. So we try to curb that, and we try to place more emphasis on the character and the spiritual side of things to give you guys a balance. Saturday, Feed the Sheep, led by Bishop Josiah Wan. Always some fire. Sometimes it's doctrinal. Most of the time it's get your spirit together type stuff. It's always some fire, and it always is something that rejuvenates, revives the spirit. Y'all make sure that y'all tap into the classes. And next month, we'll start having a class called Sound Doctrine every Sunday at, I believe it's 12:30 Pacific Standard Time, led by myself. We're going to have a class called Sound Doctrine where milk or meat, we're going to get into the doctrines, what's right and what's wrong. Let's look through the scriptures. Let's look through the history. Let's look through the whatever and figure out what it is. Are we following traditions of men, or are we following the Lord? That's the whole purpose of that class. So you guys stay tuned for that next month. If you haven't yet, like, subscribe to our YouTube, like our Facebook page, share the content, because this is all for you guys. This is all to uplift you. This is all to edify you. This is all to strengthen your faith. So we do this for you guys, not for our own health. We do our own research. We know a lot of this stuff, but we get it and we bring it to you guys because we care and love the people. And we want you guys to get it right and get it together. So you guys make sure you like, you subscribe, you share the content. And Lord willing, the Lord continue to utilize us to continue to edify you guys and bring you guys this information. So another Bible Basics. Lord willing, it fed you guys a spirit. Lord willing, it gave you guys something to sit and ponder on. Brother DARASH, Brother Ahmad, we signing out. Shalom.